This is a post for all the entrepreneurs out there who hate tech and who hate finance. My wife Lydia, who's an artist, is an entrepreneur. She paints, sells her paintings, interacts with galleries, is part of group shows, enters prizes and so on. They're a little one-man sort of entrepreneur. I'm at my house in Portugal. That's where we are now. Look, I've just built a new pool, and that's my little house over there. And Lydia's built herself a new website. It took her about 2 weeks, and it's really impressive. I was fully expecting to have to help her and bail her out because she'd messed something up, but actually it's really good. I was super impressed. And Lydia hates tech. She's an artist. Tech is an annoying thing she has to put up with. And I think what's happening now with Claude, not even Fable, the one before it, is very, very capable. And so I left Lydia alone to kind of work it all out on her own, and she did super, super well. And I think we're entering a real golden age of, people who hated that thing before, hated tech, hated finance, really being lifted out of a real sort of annoying situation. My sister does the books for sort of small business people, and they all hate it. If you're running a yoga studio, you hate doing the finances, and so you get someone like my sister to kind of do your annual reports at the end of the year. But now AI will be replacing that all really, really soon. And one thing I've realized over and over again, talking to a lot of founders, and I speak to a lot of founders, from people who make little crochet toys to people who run AI companies, right? And they all really want to do the job they're doing. Minikai, for example, is an AI company for aged care, and we really help carers with all their paperwork and admin. You know why? Because carers want to care for people. They really give a shit about the people that they're helping. They don't care about paperwork. Lydia doesn't like tech. She doesn't like admin. She doesn't like finance. And AI is about to do this all for you. So I think what's really exciting is that entrepreneurs before, many of them would stop because they were so annoyed by all this BS. And they're not real things. Like finance and tech are not real things. Tech is just a language to deal with computers. Computers are always really hard to deal with. I did a computer science degree. And you had to learn to program, and there were dorks who were all kind of a little bit, probably on the spectrum and able to talk to computers. And we relied on these people. Same thing in finance. It's complicated, and your financial advisor was some person who understood because you didn't understand it. That's all going to change, right? That's all changing now. AI is going to replace it. And having a human interface to something complicated is really unnecessary. And I think, it's a little bit like, God, think about the mechanic, who is the human interface between you and your car. Especially imagine if you're a woman and you go to the mechanics to have your car looked at, and of course the mechanic thinks you don't know what you're talking about because you're a woman, and maybe you don't, and then he makes you buy a whole load of extra stuff because you don't understand the language. Same thing with computers, same thing with finance. With AI, you can just talk to it and you don't get upset about it, and Claude never gets upset with you for asking stupid questions. And I've seen Lydia do it. She's been talking to Claude, and off in her own little world, and the output is actually a pretty decent website. Lydia has taste. She's an artist, so she can make it look how she wants to look. And what you'll see is iteration one, from a standing start of zero. So it's very, very impressive. And so what I would say, and what I would encourage everyone to do, especially if you're someone who thinks you hate tech, sign up to the paid version of Claude and just use it to help your business. Maybe start by making yourself a website. That used to cost businesses $1,000. Maybe they could find a student to do it for $500, but it could cost $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. Some people would spend $10,000 on a website. If you're an artist, that's a lot of money. And now you can do it for free for, Claude subscription, which is what, $200 a year? So we're getting to the stage now where we really are, releasing the shackles from entrepreneurs to be able to do exactly what they wanted to do. And I think that's in the end, what I think I'd like the world to become, right, is a whole load of people, making artisanal stuff, doing stuff they really like. No one likes doing finance, really, or, doing tech. I think they like making things. They like creating things. And so the previously annoying barriers are all going to start to come down. So have a look. especially if you're a smaller entrepreneur, about the site that Lydia's built, and think about how that affects you as a business person, right? It's less money spent on a website, it's more control over your tech, it's more control, and then also multiply that by, all the finances, invoicing, all that kind of annoying stuff. AI will do that all for you, so you can focus on painting or making craft, chairs, or woodworking, whatever it is that you're doing, meaningful things. It's why do I love and one of the reasons I love Lydia and married her was she's an amazing artist. Her brain is fucking weird, and that's wonderful, and that's what I think people should be doing. I see so many people in corporate jobs who are saying, well, I want to quit my corporate job, and what do you really want to do? And the easiest thing for them to do is, if let's say they're in compliance for some big corporate, is to start a compliance company. But that's fucking dull. What they really want to do is become a painter. One of my friends did this, a Dutch woman. She was very high up in venture capital, and she just quit and became a painter, and she's now become a very good painter. And it's wonderful to see that. So I think AI is going to be such a transformational thing for entrepreneurs, and I would encourage you, if you have been thinking of starting something, now is a really great time. And the first step is to sign up to Claude and just start using it and seeing how it can help you.